here for you. We exist for everyone fighting leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and other types of blood cancer.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
Day 5,840 and counting, and I'm still in remission.
To learn more and get help on day 1, day 2, day 983, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572. That's LLS.org, 1-800-955-4572.
Listen to the man who tells you exactly how he sees it. The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's Beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I'm your host of Truth to Power, Kyle Wallace, and we're coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talking text line where you can call in. You can text in with any thoughts or comments that you have on today's show. You can always watch and stream us live on the YouTubes by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That is 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Make sure y'all give us a like. Make sure you give us a subscribe. And make sure you give us a share so you don't miss any of your favorite award-winning 1017 The Truth shows. Go ahead and hit that little bell. Hit that bell, as all the young cool kids say. Shout out to DJ Brother Z holding it down on the ones and the twos. And shout out to you, Truth Nation. I appreciate y'all checking in and vibing in for today. Now, Truth Nation, before I get into the main topic, I was upstairs in this office, right? I'm upstairs in the office. And usually before the show, when I get in, I typically get in between about 8:30 and 9 o'clock. And when I get in, I have to lock in, right? Because I got to prepare 2 different shows in the span of 3 hours. And so I usually got to lock in. Sometimes I have different meetings, but I'll be locked in and focused. And so today I'm upstairs and I'm kicking it because, I got done with the show probably around 11:30. So I ate lunch, enjoyed myself, and I go back to my desk to put some finishing touches on some stuff. And all of a sudden, a crowd starts gathering by the window. See, where we're located at the 3rd Street Market Hall, and our office space looks down on Wisconsin Avenue. You can see the blue building directly outside of one of our office buildings. And so when I was sitting down, I saw a group of people congregating by the window saying, "Oh, look at that, look at that." And so at first I ignored it because, I'm like, I ain't paying attention. But then more people started gathering. And so then I'm like, I got stuff to do. And I printed off my rundown for the day. And then I decided, well, look, it's about 10 people over there. I got to see what's going on. So I go and look over, and there's just some women arguing. And let me tell you how much it wasn't entertaining. It was so entertaining. I was like, I want to see what's going to happen. It was someone with a parking spot. Somebody may hit somebody. Some black women, some Hispanic women going back and forth. It was entertaining. It was very entertaining. But moral of the story is boy, oh boy, we can be entertained by the most simple stuff, especially when you're at work. And the future of our workforce is doomed because, let me tell you, everybody was distracted by that. But anyways, Truth Nation, let me jump into it because today, Truth Nation, off the top, we are going to talk about the life and the legacy and the memories of the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Woke up this morning, you got yourself.
Y'all know what time it is. It's time for Off the Top on Truth to Power. Kyle, let Truth Nation know what you got to get off your chest today.
Now, Truth Nation, I hate waking up in the middle of the night to pee. I do. It happens, I don't know, a couple times a week. Maybe it's not even once. Maybe it's once a week, max. But I try to avoid waking up to pee in the middle of the night because I hate it. Because once I'm up, Truth Nation, I am up. Not for the whole time, but usually I'm up for, an hour to 2 hours. I can't roll over and go back to sleep. My mind just starts racing. I hate it. And then, like many others, when I'm up, I just grab my phone and I start scrolling. I start consuming. I start consuming the most random and obscure information you can find at 4 a.m. Now, today's scroll at 4 a.m., I found myself deep diving into the Hungarian elections of all things. Yes, the Hungarian elections. Budapest, news out of Budapest, Hungary. Really interesting stuff. I'm reading about how after a long reign under their current leader, Viktor Orban, many folks who compare Viktor Orban to authoritarian government like Putin and like Trump, Hungary may be on the brink of change. It was cool. They have a young up-and-coming leader in the polls, and of course, right on cue as this young up-and-coming leader is looking to change things up and potentially be the new leader after decades of rule under Viktor Orban in Hungary. All of a sudden, a headline and there's screenshots of a scandal of this man who is running, 44, who's running to be the president of Hungary. His ex-girlfriend, I guess, must have leaked a little tape. And it had screenshots of the tape. Now, DJ Brother Z might have asked me. He just said, what type of tape was it? Well, y'all know what type of tape it was. Y'all know what type. It was one of them Ray J and Kim K tapes. One of them Pamela Anderson type tapes. And what was his name? Tom Anderson? Somebody Anderson. And one of them type tapes being leaked by a man running for president. Crazy, just crazy stuff, wild stuff. But as I was scrolling and seeing all that stuff, something I saw this morning was I saw the breaking news about the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I saw that breaking news. Oh my gosh, this is the lady that was arguing at the with the car situation, Zach. She came into the building. You good? You good with the car? Your car good? Look, she laughing. She know what it is. That's good. But like I was saying, Truth Nation, is I was scrolling and I saw the breaking news of Reverend Jesse Jackson and Truth Nation. What I saw made me sad. It simply made me sad because Jesse Jackson was a giant. He was a legend in the civil rights movement. He stood beside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was there. He witnessed history firsthand. He was next to him, around him. He was around the balcony at the Lorraine Motel when tragedy struck. He was within proximity to a legacy of Martin Luther King at that moment. Andrew Young, he was there. He's still here with us, and we should cherish that and cherish those moments. Because they were the living bridges to our history. And from a millennial perspective, Truth Nation, Jesse Jackson was the civil rights activist. He wasn't just he was the civil rights activist when I was growing up. When you heard Jesse Jackson's name, it meant something. It meant power. He was our connection to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And for many of us who didn't live through the 60s, he represented that era. He carried the torch of that era into my lifetime, into our lifetime. Now, as years went on, his influence has shifted. It waned a little bit. It didn't look the same in the 2000s as it did in the 80s and as it did in the 90s and it did in the 70s. But don't get it twisted, Truth Nation. That man can still move a room. He could still stir hearts. He could still mobilize voters. And I know firsthand because as a college junior at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, I was blessed with the opportunity to be part of a scrum that got a chance to interview the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I was just 20 years old. The room was packed at Whitewater, the Hamilton room it was at Whitewater, for those who know Whitewater, inside of our union that we have there. I had access I never imagined to have at the age of 20. I was so nervous. I remember not getting the best sound quality because I was young and trying to figure stuff out. It was unreal. I still to this day have the video. That moment meant something. It did. I remember telling my parents and telling my family that I got a chance to interview the Reverend Jesse Jackson. That was something that was cool to me. And that was my memory and my connection. And for me, I still remember, and I have it on video. I'm going to have to go to my parents' house to go get the hard drive that's over there. But I remember him saying in the speech, "Keep hope alive. Vote on April 5. Thank you, everybody." And we were like repeating what he was saying. It was all cool. It was great. It was great. He was such a great public speaker. And as someone who was lucky and blessed enough to have a platform to be able to use my voice to try to inform, persuade, educate people, I admire how great of an orator that he was. You could feel his passion in his voice. As it got stronger, you just felt the words. And that was power. And what's so crazy, Truth Nation, little did I know, over a decade later, I would have the opportunity to bring him onto my station, the station I helped launch with a lot of other people, for another interview. But this time, he got a chance to call in and talk to Sherwin. At that time, he wasn't doing the best, but he could still call in for interviews. See, that was my full circle moment. My opportunity to once again touch history. Now, from my perspective, as Reverend Jackson got older, the spotlight wasn't as bright for him. But let's be very clear about something right now, is that he helped pave the way for the Barack Obamas and the countless black leaders that came after him. See, we all know he wasn't the first black person to run for president of the United States of America, but in 1988, Reverend Jesse Jackson made history. See, in that 1988 Democratic primary, to see who was going to get the Democratic seat to run against the first George W. Bush, he came in second place to the caucus and secured nearly 30% of the delegates. That was the most a black man had ever gotten. Black man or woman, black person had ever secured in delegates. Almost 30% of the delegates supported Reverend Jesse Jackson to be the Democratic nominee for the President of the United States in 1988. That was incredible. That was a monumental moment in our history. It was historic. That showed America that we were coming. It showed America that you can expand beyond a white man to have an opportunity to galvanize and be on a national stage. He was on a national stage and he was able to thrive. Though he did not get the nomination, he made history. And by the time I was growing up, he was already a living legend. And I truly believe that without Jesse Jackson, presidential runs would not be normalized to see people of color like a Kamala Harris. They wouldn't have the idea of a black candidate competing seriously for the presidency. I don't think Barack Obama becomes president if it wasn't for Jesse Jackson in that moment. Jackson was a leader, he was a strategist, he was an organizer. He was someone who believed in building a coalition of pushing America to confront its contradictions and to have an impact so powerful that generations after him are still feeling his legacy in the door that he held open for many people to walk through. He taught people how to continue to fight, how to organize, how to keep pushing, how to connect and fight with action, Truth Nation. But with that, I do have a question. Something that is still on my mind is, as we talk about the legacy of a man who was born in the 1940s, as we talk about a legacy of a man who stood by the side of Dr. Martin Luther King today in 2026, I do have a question. Where are our leaders now? How is it that you have someone whose legacy was felt in the late 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and 2000s? How is it that he may be one of the last remaining voices of pushing for the fight against injustice and inequality in our country? 833-212-1017. Where are our leaders? Why does it feel like we don't have a singular nationally recognized black leader right now like the previous generations did? Now, I understand Barack Obama is a voice, he's a leader, but Barack Obama is more than that. He is the former president of the United States of America, and when he speaks for America. He doesn't just speak for the black community. He may fight for a lot of our causes, but his influence is beyond that of what he fights for. And what I'm trying to figure out at 833-212-1017, Truth Nation, is what happened. Where are the baby boomers at stepping up to lead? And again, Obama's a baby boomer, but what I'm saying is he's different. Where are the people who were the torch was passed to? Where is the leader of Gen X? Where are the leaders of millennials? 833-212-1017. What happened? How did we become leaderless? How is it on the day that we mourn the loss of Jesse Jackson that we don't know who's going to be the one going to the funeral, as he went to so many funerals that Al Sharpton now goes to, and give these speeches and these powerful speeches talking about the legacy and talking about the impact? Where is the next generation of leaders? Because Truth Nation, I feel like the black community has become leaderless. What happened? Where was the breakdown? 833-212-1017. That is the thing I'm trying to understand. Is as our leaders and the folks who were part of the Civil Rights Act over 50 years ago start to pass on, who are the next people who are going to pave the way for others to follow through? Because as of right now, when I was going through my mind trying to think of who's up next, I couldn't think of anyone. We didn't see anyone. We don't have anyone. Do we have some voices? Yes, but we don't have anybody that can galvanize a crowd. We don't have somebody that can go to college campuses across the U.S. and pack out the places. We don't have somebody when somebody is getting murdered in the street by the police or something that is happening in our community, like with ICE across this country. Where is the leading voice that can step up and say, this is terrible, enough is enough? Where are the black leaders? Where is the black voices? That's what I want to know. And what happened? Where was the breakdown? 833-212-1017. That is the question I have for you, Truth Nation. Where are our black leaders, and how did we become leaderless? I'll continue this conversation on the other side, talking about the legacy of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And we're going to ask what happened. We're going to figure out what happened to the leaders. But then also I will have a message for those who want to send out tweets, who want to make statements, all while working against everything that Jesse Jackson stood for. It is Truth to Power with Kyle Walls. We'll continue this conversation asking, where are our black leaders, and where did we have a breakdown of us no longer having the next generation to rise up, stand up, speak out, and continue on with the fight? It's Truth to Power with Kyle Walls. We'll have more coming up next.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Listen Fridays to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris during Black History Month for Dr. Ken's Trivia. It's not just questions, it's culture, facts they don't teach you, and a few stories that matter. We'll test what you know and teach each other something new along the way. Lock in your Fridays in February. Be ready to call in and bring your brain with you. Dr. Ken's Trivia, Friday in February on Truth in the Afternoon with me, Dr. Ken Harris, on 1017 The Truth, YouTube, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Life isn't a single moment. It's a shared ribbon that bends through the years. It binds us to the things and people we love most. One insurance company knows this because they live it. For 100 years, we've been with your family for the moments that matter most. Erie Insurance.
Find a local agent at erieinsurance.com.
In celebration of Black History Month, it's coming to Milwaukee for one amazing performance. The Sounds of Gospel Music. February 22nd at 3 p.m. at Brady Symphony Center. The anthology depicting the rich history of the evolution of gospel music. The Sounds of Gospel. Featuring some of the greatest gospel singers in the country. Tickets on sale now at mso.org/concert/The Sound of Gospel. Presented by Second Chance Outreach.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
It is your final chance to save Big X Steinhoffels during their President's Day extended sale. Right now, take at least 10% off store-wide on dining sets, bedroom furniture, living room, and more. But hurry, this is really the end. And here's something fun, Truth Nation. Stop in and test rest a beauty black mattress, and you'll be entered for a chance to win a dream vacation to Hawaii only from Steinhoffels. Big savings, one last shot, and a trip to paradise is on the line. Only at Steinhoffels. Don't miss it. Shop in store or online at steinhoffels.com. It is Truth to Power with Kyle Walls here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. And we're coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Make sure you watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That is 1017 The Truth on YouTube. You can give us a like, you can give us a share, and you can give us a subscribe as we are talking about the passing of the legendary civil rights leader in Reverend Jesse Jackson. And in having a conversation talking about how incredible he was in his leadership and what he stood for and how he built a coalition and how his voice was so strong he was able to influence people, and the fact that he ran for President of the United States in 1988 to get the Democratic nomination and got almost 30% of the delegates, making history in America, but also black history, and cementing his legacy forever. I also ask, as on the day of his passing, who's next? Who's the up-and-coming leader that is going to stand up and continue the fight that was started years ago? And we have to remember that we lost somebody that was connected and intertwined with the great, legendary Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And I always think about how you're supposed to pass the torch down to somebody. And when Dr. MLK Jr. died, he passed the torch down to many people who were standing side by side with him. You saw the John Lewises, the Andrew Youngs, the Jesse Jacksons, and many more who continued on with that legacy. But now as we look today, and listen, Reverend Jesse Jackson, his influences has changed. He's been sick the last couple of years. But who's next? And how do we have a breakdown and passing of the torch? Because I can't identify a leading voice of our community, and this is a time where we need a leading voice, because I don't know if you statistically have looked at it, but black unemployment is skyrocketing up. Home foreclosures across this country are up, and understand that when America feels the pain, the black community feels it even worse. Who is the person advocating and fighting for us right now? Because you got a lot of them black Republicans like Nicki Minaj, I guess, and all these folks tap dancing for Trump. But where's the tap dancing for the black community? Because if you have access to Donald Trump, great, fantastic, you have influence. But why is that influence not being felt by the black community? This is what I'm saying. Who are our leaders? Where did they go? What happened? Again, watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. You can also call in, text in at the Truth Talking text line at 833-212-1017. Where are our black leaders to carry on the legacy of Jesse Jackson, who carried on the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King and those who came before him? 833-212-1017. Marlon, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on today's conversation? Who are our black leaders?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So My thoughts are there's a couple different reasons why we don't have a black leader, and that's because we don't have majority of people pulling in the same direction. We don't have a collective mentality. We have a very individualistic mentality. And because we don't have that collective mentality, we can't even get behind somebody. Think about when Kanye West said that stuff about black history. We had people say, oh, he's okay. But realistically, for slavery to be told that it's a choice, all black people should have been offended. But we need a majority of collective people. And because we're not a monolith and because we're so different, we can't even get our thoughts to say, I agree with this one person. You know what I mean? Now everybody's talking about we have leaders on social media, we have this and we have that. And I don't agree with that, because every organization or every at least has one individual or a board of people, so like 4, 5, 6 people have that to be in charge. And we don't have that in the black community, because everybody thinks that because I got social media, my voice is the biggest voice and I can say whatever, and that's all that matters. When realistically, like you're saying, the stuff politically, the stuff that's going on around us in the city, we don't have that voice. You know what I mean? You would think, hopefully in a city like Milwaukee, you would think Cavalier Johnson be that voice, but he's not. I think the closest person we may have is either Benjamin Crump or Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah. Ben Crump was definitely one that was in my mind about how he does speak up quite a bit. But I don't see, thank you so much, Marlon, and I don't see the level of influence, because Benjamin Crump is an attorney that fights for people's civil rights, which is exactly what we need. But Benjamin Crump isn't headlining, the DNC. He isn't headlining the RNC. He's not being called in to campaign for folks, and that might not be his lane, because he wants to stay out of that lane. And so, again, I think it's interesting for us to try to wrap our minds around who's going to be the next leader. But I will say this, as we continue to talk about the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson, he really did teach people how to continue to fight. He taught people how to organize. He taught people how to keep pushing, how to connect faith with action. And especially being part of the black community, we understand how powerful our faith is, how deep our faith is. Even if we don't go to church, the way we were raised and it was passed down to us to have a strong faith. And to be honest, to get by in this world that is so much against us, you need to have a strong faith to just live day to day as a black man or a black woman in America. And when I think about the legacy, and when I think about who he was, I'm so happy that Jesse Jackson received his flowers. I'm happy he received his flowers where he was here on earth to see them and to smell them. And I saw that the state of South Carolina, where he is from, will lower their flags today in honor of their native son. That matters. That's cool. I love it. That's significant. But I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to be honest with y'all, Truth Nation. We know what many of the elected officials in South Carolina, including their governor and their senators, we know their record. We know the policies they support. Some of the same politicians who will write glowing statements about the Reverend Jesse Jackson's legacy, folks like Lindsey Graham and folks like Donald Trump and others in the Republican Party, those who will write these great statements about how great of a man he was and how amazing his work was, are actively working against the very principles that he fought for, the things he advocated for. And for me, it feels extremely hypocritical for folks to sit here and say we're going to lower the flag for his legacy, or we're going to write these great statements about him. All at the same time that you're praising him, you're also dismantling the movement he fought so hard for. He dedicated his life to. You can't celebrate his legacy while opposing the policies rooted in justice and equality that define Jesse Jackson's life work. Reverend Jesse Jackson and so many other civil rights leaders fought to end racial discrimination, but yet we see an administration that has worked to roll back affirmative action. They froze civil rights lawsuits and investigations within the first month of being in office, and they weakened the enforcement and mechanisms meant to protect marginalized communities, and specifically we, the black community. That's what they did. So them trying to sit here and act like they love the legacy of Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, is hypocritical to me. The same folks that trying to sit here and say they appreciate the work he did are the same folks who currently today are pushing voting laws right now that will disenfranchise millions of people. It moves us in the opposite direction of what we fought for and what the battle was for voting rights that Jackson and others risked their lives for. And when I say risk their lives, I'm not just talking about, oh, they risked their, no, they literally, people died for the right to have access to vote. And now we find ourselves 50, 60 years later falling into a trap where people are going to be disenfranchised at the polls. Don't get it twisted. We're going to talk about the SAVE Act. You got a group of people who are writing all these great statements and saying, oh, he was such a powerful man. He was so influential. Reverend Jesse Jackson, I knew him and I knew what he did. Oh, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. You can't respect his legacy while also labeling diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives as racist and discouraging institutions from being intentional about representation at the place that they work or employ people. Instead of encouraging opportunity, they are punishing organizations that try to correct historic inequalities and inequities. That is what they are trying to do. So that's why I find it to be quite hypocritical. So yes, to anybody who wants to issue a statement, you can do that because anybody can issue a statement. Anybody can send condolences. Anybody can tweet about a legacy. That's easy. You can get a staff member to do that. But if your actions show that you are dismantling the very foundation Reverend Jesse Jackson dedicated his life to building, then respectfully save the performance for some other time and somebody else. Because this ain't your moment. If you are actively working against the policies of justice, voting access, equity, inclusion that he fought to secure, maybe this moment isn't yours to speak on. That's the message we need to deliver. See, the problem with our community, we're so open. We want everybody to be able to kumbaya with us. Not today. Not today. Because you can't sit here and say all these positive words about his legacy while you're dismantling the work that he did. Now, Laura Ingraham from Fox News famously said about basketball players and LeBron James, she said, shut up and dribble. What I say to some of the politicians who are actively working against the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Reverend Jesse Jackson, what I say to y'all is shut up and carry on with your racist, hateful, and divisive policies. Shut up and carry on with those. We don't want to hear that fake empathy and fake sympathy that you have. Allow your actions to speak louder than your words, because Reverend Jesse Jackson's life was not about expanding democracy. It was about expanding democracy, protecting dignity, and fighting for those pushed to the margins and the marginalized individuals. So if we're going to honor him, let's honor him with action and not just with words. 833-212-1017. That was something that frustrated me today when I saw all the different tweets that went out there and all the different statements. And I said, how hypocritical are you? How can you sit up here and be so divisive? How can you sit up here and be so hateful? How could you sit up here and literally advocate for white people to report discrimination at work, all while freezing investigations and discrimination at different places that involve black people, and sit up here and try to act like you give a dang about the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson? It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And I ain't standing for it. Like I said, shut up and continue on with all the hateful things that you're doing, all the disgusting policies that you have. Save the performance for another day and another person, because today ain't it. But 833-212-1017, Truth Nation, I still want to know from you, where are our leaders? I see y'all on the Truth Talking text line. I see y'all on YouTube, 1017 The Truth on YouTube. But I want to continue talking about this legacy. If y'all got questions or y'all got texts, go ahead, 833-212-1017. But today we're talking about the legacy of Jesse Jackson. And we're talking about the hypocrites are trying to take this moment to act like they're not actively working to dismantle the work that he spent his life doing. 833-212-1017. We'll continue this conversation. There's so much more on the other side. It's Truth to Power with Kyle Walls. Keep it locked. Also, I will be giving away tickets to Summerfest. Not just a ticket, but a Power Pass package to Summerfest. Keep it locked because we'll be giving that away coming up shortly.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all.
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 Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Truth Nation, it's time once again to celebrate excellence, passion, and the power of community at the 2nd Annual Truth Community Awards, happening Friday, February 20th at Venue 3 inside the 3rd Street Market Hall in downtown Milwaukee. This award show will honor the unsung heroes who show up, give back, and make a positive impact in our community every single day. We are rolling out the red carpet and showing love to those who truly deserve it. Buy your tickets now by visiting 1017thetruthAwards.com. Tickets are just $20, which includes free food and exclusive Truth giveaways. Join the 1017 The Truth team for an unforgettable night of entertainment, inspiration, and community pride at the 2nd Annual Truth Community Awards on Friday, February 20th at Venue 3 in Milwaukee. The Truth Community Awards are presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Milwaukee College Prep, Cousin Subs, Venue 3 at the 3rd Street Market Hall, and the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learned to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
This Associated Bank Sports Center update on 1017 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Andrew Zimmel. The Milwaukee Brewers full squad has started spring training in Phoenix. And MLB All-Star Christian Yelich is excited for a new year.
You have to be fired up for every season. You know, the baseball season requires your full attention. You have to be physically, mentally present every single season to, have a chance at success.
After a magic season last year, the Brewers will look to recapture that magic and make another run towards the World Series. And number 24, Wisconsin, coming off back-to-back top 10 wins, travels to Ohio State Tuesday evening. The Badgers opened last week with an upset against number 8 Illinois, and on Friday took down number 10 Michigan State. They'll look to keep that momentum going. Tip-off tonight, 7:30 p.m. This True Sports Update was brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
This is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Truth Nation, the second annual Truth Community Awards is this Friday, and you do not want to miss it. Get your tickets now by going to 1017truthawards.com. That is 1017truthawards.com. And I want to say congratulations to the amazing award recipients this year, who are Andre Douglas, Erica Crowley, Farina Brooks, Joseph Addison, Melody McCurtis, and Shawana Lindenberg. Thank you to them for making a real difference in our community. And Truth Nation, make sure y'all come out and celebrate all the differences that they have made in our community, because they have made a special impact, and they will be celebrated on Friday. Again, go to 1017truthawards.com to get your tickets and hang out with the Truth fam as well. Got food, some giveaways, some brewer tickets giveaways, a nice hotel stay at the Chula Vista Resort, and some other good things as well, some good free food too as well. The Truth Community Awards are presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, Venue 3 at the 3rd Street Market Hall. Come celebrate with us this Friday, February 20th at the Truth Community Awards, hosted by the legendary Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman from 5:30 to 8 p. at Venue 3 in the 3rd Street Market Hall. It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, and I've been talking about the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. And for me, when I think about his legacy, and I know later on he has some controversy. It's so hard, and in the day and age now where technology is so rampant and so accessible, it's so hard to stay clean. It really is. I mean, it isn't, but it is. And when I think about his impact and his legacy, I think about how it still resonates to this day. And what's so powerful is I always talk about you being able to impact generations you won't see. That's exactly what he did. But I am befuddled over the fact that we don't have leaders who are stepping up now. Like, we don't have leaders who are filling that void that he left. Make sure y'all watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Give us a like, give us a share, and give us a subscribe. And I just don't know where the breakdown was. And for me, when I think about it, there are a lot of people who utilize social media as a platform, because social media allows for your message to be disseminated and shared and like. Hell, I mean, the Truth done had stuff going viral before, which is powerful to be able to do. But many times, you need to be able to galvanize people and go and influence people to do stuff. When I saw him at UW Whitewater, that's exactly what he was doing. He was trying to get people out to vote in an April election. That's what he was doing. And I don't feel like we have that same level of movers and shakers. And maybe, I don't know, the expectations have changed, and maybe I just have too high expectations for others, right? Hoping for others to step up and do something that I want them to do. But I just feel like we as a community, we're not lost. Because I don't think we're lost at all, because I think we are thriving. And I think for those to think that the black community isn't finding success would be short-sighted and only based off the area and space that you're in. Because I always tell people, I remember when I used to go to the East Coast, I used to see black people money everywhere. I got folks I know down in Georgia got money everywhere. Down in Texas got money everywhere. Hell, go down to the Southwest, got money. And so I would hate to try to diminish the hard work of other black people, but I just struggle to see where the leadership is coming now and what happened. Who dropped the ball? Why wasn't the torch passed? Because, again, what keeps going through my mind is every time somebody died, it seemed like Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton was going to give a speech at the funeral. And I don't know how old Al Sharpton is. Al Sharpton got to be in his upper 70s at this point. And one day Al going to be gone too. And then who's going to be left to give these powerful speeches and guide the people? That's the one thing I think about and I'm concerned about. But I do want to say, as I'm talking about the legacy, I did see a very powerful statement from MLK III, who followed me on social media, by the way. You can also follow me on social media at 414KyleW. But a message that he had about the Reverend Jesse Jackson was powerful to me. It was beautiful. It captured what a lot of us feel. He said he walked with courage when the road was uncertain. He spoke with conviction when the truth was inconvenient. And he stood with the poor, the marginalized, and the forgotten when it was not popular to do so. His life was a testament to when it was not popular to do so. His life was a testament to the power of faith in action. faith that justice could be won, that dignity belongs to every person, and that love must always have the final word. That is powerful. That love must always have the final word. And that's something that I think that we need to live with, but also I feel like we don't have voices. This is MLK the third, and, you know, he got the name of Martin Luther King Jr. He hasn't been able to continue on with the legacy as strong as what it once was. Was this done by design? Did the FBI purposely try to take away our leaders and push the message down and not allow for us to have leaders speaking up? Because it seemed like it transitioned from fighting for civil rights to fighting against the war on drugs and fighting back against the government and fighting back on the things that were happening in our communities, when we still are dealing with racism. We're still dealing with not segregation, but we're still dealing with issues where we don't get our fair share of so much here in this country. But 833-212-1017, Al, what happened, or where are the black leaders now?
Well, everybody can be a black leader, but the problem is with a lot of black people, they done lost their free will to have pride. Some of them decide just to go along with the get along, and it's not going to help the black community when you have them say, yeah, master, I know you don't like my kind, but I'm going to vote for you. Because I know you're trying the best move for us as black folks, even though you don't like us. But when it starts with pride, that's the first step of being a true leader. But some of them feel like they have to sit on master's lap in order to be recognized, because we as black people are creators, innovators, and true hustlers. Some just want to drag their feet. What you put in is what you get out of it. Those people you seen with all that money down in Georgia and California, they could be here too in Milwaukee. But you can't get it by trying to be New Jack City. You can't get it by trying to shoot and kill your own people. You got to love your own people and help them get up and not put them down. But if Master say I'm people, I got to make sure I stay under Master so he can pat me on my back, and Master can give me them kibbles and bits so I can still live in the zip code but not live in his, because this is about what Master thinks. Yes, and that's where we are.
You know, I do hear you, but I don't agree that, because I don't feel like that's why we don't have any leaders. I feel like we don't have any leaders simply because whether it's government or we just don't have somebody who is stepping up and being pushed. It's just odd to me.
It doesn't take nothing to be a leader. All you got to do is speak from your heart and say what's on your mind, F their feelings, and say it.
All right. Well, leader out.
But the ones we got, no, we don't want to say that. But they can call you every name in the book, talk about your kids and your mama, but let the shoe be, well, I don't want to say that about them because my message might go out. If they fail and talk about them children, them school children, how they effing their kids, all this stuff, but they don't want to do that because, we might need them for something.
All right, Al, thank you. I appreciate that. Always with the children, which, Al's been saying that for years, and the Epstein files came out. Wasn't a conspiracy when I was it, Brother Z. It seemed to be true. We really were doing them kids. But Truth Nation, when we come back on the other side, I'll read some of your talking text that you can call in at 833-212-1017. I'll read some of your messages on YouTube, where you can go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Give us a like, give us a share, and give us a subscribe. But at this moment, Truth Nation, now is your chance to win a T-Mobile Power Pass sponsored by T-Mobile and brought to you by Summerfest. This right now could be your chance to win a 9-day Power Pass. Be caller number 10 right now at 833-212-1017 for your chance to win all 9 days of the festival to see your favorite artists. Yes, you can go all 9 days to Summerfest on 1017 The Truth and also on T-Mobile and Summerfest. Yes, this is your opportunity to win 9 tickets to go to Summerfest. The lineup for Summerfest comes out this Thursday. Post Malone, y'all know who Post Malone is, Don Toliver, The Roots, Charlie Wilson, and so many more will be at Summerfest. Be caller number 10 right now for your chance to win 9 tickets. Yes, a T-Mobile Power Pass to go to Summerfest at 833-212-1017. We are looking for caller number 10. When we come back, I'll share my final thoughts and wrap up the show. It's Truth to Power, Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, mark your calendars for Friday, February 20th for the second annual Truth Community Awards, hosted by Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman, celebrating individuals making a real difference in our community. Tickets are on sale now. Visit 1017thetruthAwards.com to learn more. The Truth Community Awards are sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Office, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall.
Injured at work, unable to work due to health problems, or denied veteran benefits you're entitled to? Last year, Tayback Law returned over $73 million in wrongfully denied VA and Social Security benefits to people in our communities. Tayback Law celebrates Black History Month by bringing its message to 101.7 The Truth. The team is thrilled to see Milwaukee achieve this exciting new outlet for speaking truth to power. And Tayback Law is always ready to fight for you. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Hey y'all, it's 1017 The Truth's Rhea Riley for Sweet Talks Medical Spa in Menominee Falls. Skip the sterile clinical office feel. Sweet Talk stays on the cutting edge of beauty and wellness innovations in a vibrant, playful space promoting self-love and confidence. Sweet Talk specializes in a range of treatments, including injectables, medical-grade skincare, weight loss, hormone therapies, and more. Not sure where to start? Sweet Talks offers comprehensive wellness consultations to create a customized plan centered around you. Because at Sweet Talks, your goals are their goals. Learn more at sweettalks.com.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about 4 walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Congratulations to Ricky on winning those Summerfest tickets. That was, the phone lines is still lighting up. If you didn't win today, you still will have your chance to win tomorrow and on Thursday, as Tori Lowe will be giving away a pack and Dr. Kim will be giving away a pack on Thursday. Thank y'all so much for chiming in. The award-winning 1017 The Truth proudly celebrates Black excellence in the most monumental moments in our history. All month long, we've been honoring the voices, the stories, and the achievements that have shaped our past, empowered our present, and continue to inspire our future. I know Tori Lowe had a poet on yesterday. Tune in for Dr. Ken's trivia, spotlighting powerful facts and moments you need to know, and Tori Lowe's Our Voices, Our Story, amplifying the youth perspectives and lived experience that define who we are. Tune in all month long on 1017 The Truth as we lift up the legacy, the brilliance, and the power of Black history, because Black history isn't just history, it's happening every day. 1017 The Truth celebration of Black history is proudly sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Tayback Law. It is Truth to Power with Kyle Walls here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Make sure you watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. You can give us a like, you can give us a share, you can give us a subscribe. And today we talked about the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson, who passed away today. And one of my big things was we need to celebrate his legacy, but for those who didn't truly epitomize or live up to or support his legacy and are working to dismantle his legacy, you need to shut up today. This isn't your moment. This isn't your time to be in the spotlight. On the Truth Talking text line at 833-212-1017, Todd said, Kyle, the struggle is not even close to the 50s and 60s. This is in my question of where are the leaders at today? And Todd believes because the struggle isn't close to what it was in the 50s and 60s, younger people today haven't had to go through it. That's why no one is stepping up to lead. That could be a very strong point. When you don't feel what people had to feel before that, before you don't understand the importance of having leading voices. Also on the Truth Talking text line, D'Angelo's Advocate said, yo, K-Dub, are you aware Jesse Jackson was given a free office for his Rainbow Coalition, this civil rights organization on Wall Street by Donald Trump? I heard stories about his support of him, and that's great. That's fantastic. And I hope and wish Donald Trump continues to support organizations in their time of need that fight for equality and justice. He also said if black people believe the term freedom or death, they probably agree with Killmonger at the end of Black Panther, who chooses death over bondage. All slaves could have fought their masters to death, but all of them did not do that. So Kanye was uncomfortable, right? Actually, was slavery. Kanye was uncomfortably right. Slavery actually was a choice. I get it. I get it. But again, Truth Nation, my final thoughts for today as we talk about the legacy of Jesse Jackson is I will remember his legacy as being one that impacted people. And again, I always think about how fortunate I was to actually cover him and be part of that scrum. You know, and the thing is at that moment in time, I was starstruck, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm interviewing, I'm part of this scrum with Jesse Jackson. This is awesome. This is cool. And I appreciate it in the moment, but I don't think I fully grasped what that moment was, right? Who I was talking to. And as time goes on and with age, you get more grateful. That's the one thing that I have gotten with age is I've become more grateful. And I'm so grateful to have been blessed to do what I do and to cover who I got in the cover. Now, my goal is to one day to interview President Barack Obama. I haven't had the opportunity to do that. Funny story is that my dad one time, when he was at a play in Chicago, they were down in Chicago visiting my cousins. This is my dad's cousin, older cousin. And they were at a play in Chicago, and my dad went into the bathroom, and he said he remembered when he went into the bathroom, there was a security guard outside the door. Now, this is in like 04. This is probably, or 06, between 04 and 06, after Barack Obama gave that powerful speech at the 2004 DNC that put him and launched him on his path to becoming president in 08. And I remember my dad going to the bathroom. You remember he peed a couple stalls away from Obama. So my dad has been close to Obama. But I have yet to have the opportunity to interview or meet Obama. But I look forward to it one day. I really do. And I hope there is some rising political star or who maybe just chooses not to choose politics but chooses to be an organizer. I hope we have somebody who's going to be a mover and shaker and somebody who can light a fire and get people to want to vote for change and get people to, speak, action into power. That's what I hope we can find. Ron on the South Side said, rest in power to Jesse Jackson. You never know what you're missing until it's gone, especially elders like that one. I appreciate that Jesse Jackson did get his flowers while he was on Earth, while he was here. But thank you so much, Truth Nation. I appreciate y'all tuning in today and joining in on the conversation as we talked about the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson, and we talked about where are the black leaders now. But also, I do want to leave y'all with the thoughts of this, Truth Nation. Do not allow people who actively work against the things that Reverend Jesse Jackson and so many of our civil rights leaders did and fought for, do not allow those individuals to have a say today. Because when you're actively trying to dismantle the hard work that they put their life on the line for, you don't get a chance to celebrate in the life and the legacy today, from my perspective. Sit this one out. This has been Truth to Power with Kyle Walsh on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. The Troy Lowe Show is up next. Thank y'all so much. Peace out. I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow.
Can you drive that monkey soul? This Black History Month, 1017 The Truth, opening up the mic to Milwaukee's youth. Young boys